Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Buffalo Sports Center video. I am Don, and with me today is the co-founder of our Instagram, Mr. Sexy Face Cal. How are you doing today?
Doing absolutely phenomenal. Good day to film some videos. Good day to talk Bills. Good day to talk about a very special year. So, yeah.
Certainly it's been a couple of good years for Bills football ever since Sean McDermott and Big Baller Bean have come to town. It's been real smooth sailing for the most part, but today's video we're going to take a look back at the 2018 draft. Most people say, oh, give it 5 years and see. Well, we feel like 4 is enough and we're kind of impatient. So, today's that day where we look back at the Bills' infamous 2018 draft, and let's get right to the chase. Their first pick in that draft was Big Daddy, quarterback Josh Allen from Wyoming. I don't really think we have too much to say on this one.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredibly, just hated on pick when it first happened. I mean, I'd say 90% of the fan base absolutely despised the pick. We all wanted Rosen or trade up to get Mayfield or Darnold. Boy, was everyone wrong about this one. Josh Allen, I think, top 5 quarterback, every single person on this planet would say. I think we would both say top 3. Just a phenomenal athlete. His potential, he could just keep getting better and better. Perfect size for an NFL quarterback, mobile, can throw the ball 150 yards. I mean, this guy's the total package. What a pick.
And you're absolutely right. I was one of those fans that I came home and I saw the draft and I saw we had drafted someone named Josh and I was like, ooh, Josh Rosen. No, Josh Allen. And I went, no! And I threw something at the TV. I was so mad. Obviously that didn't work out. But actually it was for the better. We actually picked our franchise quarterback and he's under contract for 6 more years. He just went off in the playoffs. He went off in the 2020 and 2021 season. And this is an A+ pick right here. A++.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, what an uncharacteristic move by the Bills. Usually they'd fail in the draft before Brandon Beane. They'd always get something wrong. The huge playoff drought. Finally, we get something right. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was the most important pick probably for the Bills over the last 25 years, really.
Absolutely.
And for the next 10 years that's going on. Now, let's move on to the second pick in this draft. This one's a little more divisive. First round, pick 16, the Bills selected inside linebacker Tremaine Edmunds from Virginia Tech. And there's a lot of different thoughts on this guy. Cal, what are your thoughts?
Tremaine Edmunds, when we first picked him, I was in favor of this pick 100%. I thought draft day number 1, pretty solid, Josh, I mean, obviously we were all iffy on Josh Allen, but Tremaine Edmunds seemed like a very good pick. He had size. He was a freak of nature. He could do almost anything, very young. And then we started to see him play. And this is where the fan base kind of divides. Half the people would say, he's still too young. He's got all the potential in the world. He'll get it. The other half says if he doesn't know what he's doing now, he never will. I'm kind of on that side where I see some flashes from him, but overall, it seems like he's never in the right spot for run defense. It seems like he's always going to the wrong hole. He's always, in the wrong spot in the red zone. I'd give him another year, but I am not ready to pay him big money.
Absolutely not. I don't think he's earned that. No offense to him. It's just that for a guy like him with his name, with the stature he's got, you would expect him to be like another Luke Kuechly, and he hasn't been anywhere close to that. I will say he hasn't been terrible. He just has been very painfully average. He's been very average in his couple seasons here in Buffalo, and the expectation was that he'd be the anchor, the captain, the Josh Allen of the defense, the center of everything. It's just that he hasn't been anywhere close to that, unfortunately. And you're absolutely right. We can't pay him until we see one more season of him. If he keeps showing us what he showed last season, very inconsistent, very clueless at times, then there's a really, really big call for Brandon Beane to make.
Yeah, he needs a breakout year for sure. I know he has developed into a bit of a leader on that defense, which I appreciate. His first few years, a lot of people said he was very quiet, didn't want to be the one to say something, but From reports last year, he really stepped it up a little bit. So if his play can step up a little bit, I'm completely fine keeping him on this team. I really like him, but his personality, his potential, but just what we've seen on the playing field is not good enough.
No, absolutely not. And, well, we're going to have to wait and see with this one. If you were to give a letter grade to it, what would you give him?
I'd give it a B minus right now. I think if he does not perform this year, it drops down to in the C's. If he performs, it could very well jump up to an A. So I'm very indifferent on this one.
I would agree with that. It's a very, if he has a breakout season next year, maybe he's like Rasmus Dahlin from the Sabres. Takes a long time to nurture. He's very young. He's got some physical assets to him, but it just needs to all come together at a higher level. And maybe he's a late bloomer. I don't know, but for now, I agree with B minus. Let's move on now. So the Bills, Brandon Beane had traded up to get Tremaine Edmonds. That means he lost his second round pick that year. So we'll jump straight to round 3, pick 96, and they selected defensive tackle Harrison Phillips. What do you think about this guy?
Iconic pick for Bills Mafia. Pancho Villa made the pick. Rest in peace. But Harrison Phillips was a guy who was supposed to replace Kyle Williams. We all saw an identical figure. We thought Harrison Phillips would step right in, hop behind him, and then once Williams retired, we'd have a replacement. Not so much. Harrison Phillips, an absolutely great guy for the community. A ton of charities, foundations. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Buffalo Bills. Didn't win the total thing, but just an incredible human being. As far as football goes, I didn't see enough on the football field for him to really be a great pick, a good pick. He was average at best. Dealt with some injuries. No longer with the team. So I wish him luck in Minnesota. I really do, but not overly spectacular.
No, and I really think that last season was more of his breakout. We saw a decrease in runs from the other teams. When he was in, he was so much better than Starlu Talele. It's unfortunate that he had to leave Buffalo, but he got that money from Minnesota. I would take that money any day. The Bills weren't necessarily going to offer that. But yeah, I don't know. I think he was a little better than average, but he still wasn't very high above that line. If you were to give a letter grade, what would you give him?
I'd have to give him a B minus as well. I think, total package was definitely a win for the Bills, but at the same time, he's no longer with the team, no longer can contribute, and really didn't have that much of a say in the Bills lineup.
Yeah, and he was more of a rotational piece. You're absolutely right. The expectation was he'd come in and replace Kyle Williams, and he never really did. And that mistake, kind of, has led to the Bills going out and drafting Greg Rousseau and a bunch of these other guys, and now they've even gotten Von Miller. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. You never know.
Yeah.
But for now, it's a B minus. Now we're gonna move on to the 4th pick of this draft. It's another consequential one. In round 4, at pick 121, the Bills selected cornerback Taryn Johnson from Weber State. Relatively unknown guy, but this pick has totally worked out for the Bills.
Yeah, incredible find in the 4th round. Taryn Johnson, who's been a huge part of our defense, still young, like all these guys, but he's going to have to take a huge step up this year because cornerback might be our weakest position, not just on the defense, but on the entire team. This is pre-draft, of course. He's known for, the big pick six and the playoff game, divisional round against the Ravens. We all know that. He also had the other pick six against the Steelers. He really has not had like an incredible total season, but we have seen glimpses of him where we're like, okay, this guy, I definitely feel comfortable with him with a cornerback 2 spot on the team. He's shown flashes, but overall, I don't think I necessarily feel comfortable with him as a cornerback 2 on a Super Bowl level team, but that could always change. So again, great find.
I think that where he's playing right now, nickel cornerback, slot cornerback, sometimes even, he's performed that relatively well. Last season, we didn't hear too much of him, but that was for good reason. When he does his job, you don't notice him. The ball never goes his way. That's how it's supposed to be. And the fact that we didn't hear him last year meant that he was doing his job. I think he's been very good considering that he was fourth rounder, not really thought too much of when he was first drafted here in Buffalo, and he's totally blossomed. He's one of these mid to late round finds that Brandon Beane has hit on. He's hit on guys like Matt Milano, a guy we're going to come up very soon, and a couple others like Taryn Johnson just fits that mold. Mid to late round gems from Brandon Beane. I would personally give this guy an A minus as this draft grade so far.
Yeah, I was gonna give him an A just because fourth round fine. This guy's outplayed his potential, and he can only get better from here. So I'm really excited to see how he does next season.
Absolutely, he's hopefully with the defense getting in a couple more guys, we see a little bit step of growth from him and Tremaine Edmonds and Tre'Davious White. Hopefully he comes back perfectly fine and not so hurt. Let's move on now. Round 5, pick 154. The Bills got their core special teamer with cornerback Saran Neo. Now, fans may think that he's been kind of a bust, but the fact that he's remained on the team, core special teamer, for 4 years now, it's remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, very slopped on. He is a huge part of this team. And, like you said, people may be like, oh, he's a boss. I don't really see him that much. Watch special teams. This guy is a beast on special teams. A huge coach's favorite out there. He knows exactly what to do on special teams. As for defense, playing like safety or backup cornerback, which you've seen once or twice in panic situations, he could hold his own out there, but that's really not his job anymore. He's a core special teamer, and he does a fantastic job. So good find.
Absolutely. And the fact that he's remained in Buffalo while having such a limited role speaks miles and miles as to what his abilities are for that group. And I would give him a B or a B plus this pick.
Yeah, I'd agree with a B. I think, the fact that he doesn't play defense with us too much really, subtracts, but his flexibility, you could really do anything with this guy, plug him anywhere, and he could fill the role for a little bit. So, just a great piece overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on now. Round 5, pick 166. It was only a couple after Saran Nail. The Bills selected guard Wyatt Teller, also from Virginia Tech. Now, if you guys recognize that name, it's because he's now an all-pro offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns. And not many people know this, but the Bills actually drafted him.
Yeah, he was, when he first came here, didn't think much of him, thought, late round offensive lineman. Then he started to get some playing time. And from what we saw some, it's hard to critique an offensive lineman. You really got to focus on them unless they're, completely horrible. You can tell that right away. But, I watched him a little bit. I saw a little bit of potential, but I never really thought he'd get to the level he did. The Bills ended up getting rid of him for, I think a late round pick. They traded him. And all of a sudden, he just becomes this all-pro star offensive lineman. I don't blame the Bills for getting rid of him. I don't think it was that obvious that he was going to turn into this star. But it is good to see, guy from, straight from the Bills going somewhere else, having a good year. It hurts a little bit, especially because our offensive line has been rough the last few years. But overall, a good pick, and for the Bills, not so great of a pick, but I'm sure the Browns appreciate it.
Well, look at who he went to. Who's coaching him now in Cleveland? It's Bill Callahan. He's one of the best all time at coaching offensive line. So the Bills didn't have Bill Callahan. The Browns did. Guess where he suddenly became successful? In Cleveland. And I don't, like you said, I don't think the Bills could have foreseen him becoming this big of a star, but he has, and I think it's kind of worked out for the Bills. We're still winning. If we weren't winning, then it probably kind of hurt. This would be like so many other rookies that we've given up on. But how would you grade this pick?
I'd grade it a B minus. I think just overall, we didn't really get much out of him, but he filled his role, and he ended up being very good. So with that being said, a good find, late development guy, which we might have given up on too early, but like you said, the success kind of cancels it out. It's a whatever move. It is what it is, and we've moved on.
Yeah, I think both sides have moved on, and we found Ryan Bates and Ike Becker, which they're okay, and they come at much cheaper cost now than Wide will. So, let's move on now. Round 6, pick 187. We selected wide receiver Ray Mcleod from Clemson, and a lot of people were liking this pick at the time, and well, things have happened since.
Yeah, we got this guy to basically fill the Isaiah McKenzie role that is on our team right now. Return guy, maybe do some running back style wide receiver plays on offense. This guy just didn't work out. I mean, had trouble carrying the ball, fumbled it a lot, was very nervous, just didn't appear to be an NFL ready player. Since then, he's moved on to Pittsburgh, and he's had a little bit of success. They've stuck with him, but overall, not a great pick. For a late round pick, though, a guy that's still in the NFL to this day, a solid job by Brandon Beane. It's really tough to find guys in the late rounds that are sustainable, especially at the wide receiver position. So a decent pick, but definitely didn't work out for the Bills.
No. And I remember watching last year, the one game that Pittsburgh actually saw on Monday Night Football against Chicago Bears. Guess who let the Bears back into that matchup? It was Ray McLeod fumbling a punt return.
Yep.
It's very he's a very inconsistent player that is not come anywhere close to his potential. Very speedy. Like you said, perfect comparison, Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie is peak what Ray McLeod could have been. And I'm so glad the Bills picked McKenzie over McLeod. That was the right call 100%. And, I just never felt confident with this guy catching some balls for return. So it was never really surefire. And I would give this pick a C-, honestly.
Yeah, I might honestly give this one a D. It just didn't work out at all. He really didn't help the Bills' offense in any way when he was here. Like you said, though, fan favorite, a guy that people wanted to see good. I actually bought a rookie card to his, only one. I didn't really see that much potential, but fan favorite. I figured, hey, if this guy turns good, make some profit. Never worked out, but it is what it is. Likable guy.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. And now let's move on with the final pick of this draft. It was wide receiver Austin Pro from North Carolina, but he never played an actual game with the Bills, so there's nothing really to say about him. I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. He may be practice squad.
I believe he jumped around the leagues. I don't know if he was in the XFL or the USFL now, but he definitely jumped around the leagues, and he never really stuck in the NFL. Very late round guy, last round guy. So it's not like we were really expecting too much from him. Just kind of took a swing, hoping to hit the meatball down the plate, swung and missed. It is what it is. There's really nothing you can do about this one.
No, not really. And I think overall, besides this pick, it was a very good draft. It changed the course of the Bills for the next 10 years with Allen and Edmonds. No matter how inconsistent he's been, they're both cornerstones of this team. Taryn Johnson's turned into an all-time starter, and Harrison Phillips also started to emerge before he got snatched away by the Vikings. So this was a very good draft for Brandon Beane and the Bills. It was Brandon Beane's first draft, and overall, what's one grade that would perfectly encompass this draft?
I think I got to give it an A. Our number one, our first pick, Josh Allen, turned into an absolute megastar. You can't get much better than that. I don't care if they drafted Josh Allen and the rest of it they drafted, people who didn't even play a game on our team. It would still be an A for me. The fact that we got Josh Allen and, additionally, Taryn Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, those are big pieces to your team. Hopefully Tremaine Edmonds can step it up this year, and then this draft just gets even better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, tell us in the comment section, what would you give this draft? This was certainly a very monumental one, but tell us in the comment section, what do you think? Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I was Don. Besides me was Sexy Face Cal, and together we make a Buffalo Sports Center. Thank you so much for watching, and see y'all in the next video.